You may want another call. Okay. You sure? No, we'll start and then you could go. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Today is February 11th, 2025. We're going to call to order the Little Haiti Revitalization Trust monthly board meeting. It is now 6:15.
This is roll call. Leslie England Dorlands.
Present.
Ashley Toussaint. Alyssa Zapata.
Present.
Robert Holland. Absent. Rudy Meme.
Present.
We have quorum to proceed.
Any person who acts as a lobbyist pursuant to City of Miami Ordinance Number 11469, codified in Chapter 2, Article 6 of the City Code, must register with the city clerk prior to engaging in lobbying activities before city staff, boards, committees, and the city commission. A copy of said ordinance is available in the office of the city clerk, City Hall. The material for each item on the agenda is available online on the city's website. Any person may be heard by the board through the chair for not more than 2 minutes on any proposition before the board, unless modified by the chair. If the proposition is being continued or rescheduled, the opportunity to be heard may be at such later date before the board takes action on such proposition. The chair will advise the public when the public may have the opportunity to address the board during the public comment period or at any other designated time.
So we'll go ahead and open up public comment. When you approach the microphone, please state your name and your address. You'll have 2 minutes to address the board. This is roll call. This is public comment.
Good evening, Sean Wilt, 6161 Northeast 3rd Avenue, part of the Magic City Innovation District. Thank you, board, for being here tonight. Just wanted to give everyone an update on our intended plans for our food truck that we mentioned a few months back. So we are hoping to launch the Foodie Village and the Magic Market, Farmers Market and Flea Market adjacent to it. We're trying to get food trucks to start showing up on site as early as the end of this month, and then have a grand opening with the Magic Market. So the Foodie Village will operate basically 7 days a week. And with 2 food trucks that have propane, we are trying to find more food trucks that operate only off electric. So that is something that is going to be a need that we have so that they can operate during the week as well. And then on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we'll be open to have up to 70 vendor tent setups and vendor spots, as well as additional food truck operations on site every Saturday and Sunday. So we're definitely looking forward to the local community getting involved. Hopefully, artisans, craftsmen, artists, and whatever it may be that can come out and actually, start small businesses within the Magic Market. I think, as everyone knows, we are part of the Magic City Innovation District, SAP. There is an open air retail market throughout the future promenade that we build. So we look at this as hopefully that initial phase, initial cultivation of local small businesses able to start here and then grow into actually have markets in our open air retail market as a part of the promenade. So thank you.
So, Sean, I just have a quick question, if you don't mind. Since you are promoting small businesses in the Little Haiti area, any incentives for those businesses that would go into the promenade or this open air space?
At the end of the day, we look at this as the opportunity. The vendor tents, we're going to start out, they're going to be basically $80 a day, so $160 for the weekend for the 10 by 10 stall. And really just trying to provide the place, the opportunity that is within the local community. We're trying to set up the website and sign up forms and all that stuff that I spoke to the CEO, Joanne, that once we have that established in the coming, hopefully it's probably going to be early next week, we'll send that out, and hopefully through the trust they can send out to the community and the whole contact list to have that to go in and start getting more information.
Appreciate it. Anyone else for public comment? Okay. We'll go ahead into announcements.
Announcements, so we can move to presentations.
No problem. So we have a presentation from the Parks Department.
Good evening. How's everybody doing? Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Chris Evans, the director of the City of Miami Parks and Recreation Department. Good evening. Also have Laclevia Morley Snipes here. We have a couple of announcements. Good stuff. First, I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce our new cultural center manager. Dasha St. Remy is here. Dasha. Welcome to the team. Dasha, born and raised in the county of Dade. She's back in Miami from Philadelphia, has a background in the arts, and is celebrating the Eagles win. And so she has a background in the arts. Definitely lucky to have her with us. I know we're bringing her on board. Laclevia's doing a great job of just bringing her on board and catching her up to speed on all the things we've been working on here. So I definitely wanted to say that. And then also I'll just give just a slight repair update on a portion of the facility before I hand the microphone off. The AC in the theater and the cultural center building, we're finally there at the finish line. It'll be done on Friday. They had some additional testing there for the last week and a half that took them a little longer to finish the project, but we've gotten confirmation from our General Services Administration Department that it would be ready and be completed on Friday. So the AC will be up and running there. And we have a couple of other announcements and programmatic announcements as well.
Good evening, everyone. So just a few updates. We did complete the drainage project that was handled by our Office of Capital Improvements. That's the project that was taking place in between the theater building and the marketplace. And so now that is completed, we're going to start our moisture remediation in the dance room. I think you all know that the room has been inoperable for the last few years, so we're making progress with that. Once the mitigation is done, we're going to replace the dance floor and then replace some of the cabinetry in there. So we're looking at probably the next 2 or 3 months. We should have that completed and be ready to start programming in that area again. We've been doing, some little touch-up repairs here and there throughout the facility. So doing some deep cleaning, those type of things are taking place, painting, that kind of thing. So I wanted to give you some updates on some programmatic things that we've had happening at the center. Last week, we started the activation of a 6-week film program with teens. We're in partnership with the Florida Film House and their Film Youth Program. So the teens in the area, majority of which are students at Edison. So that's going to be a 6-week program taking place every Wednesday from 3:30 to 5:30. Tomorrow will make their second week that this has been taking place. We also are getting ready to partner with the city's Economic Innovation and Development Department, also at Chase, and they're implementing a small business program, that as well as a 6-week program, and we're also partnering with the trust to help facilitate that. So that class, the first class, will be taking place at the end of the month, and it is open up to all of the community. They did issue a press release yesterday, so that is being facilitated by Chase Bank. And now to talk about Black History programming. So we started last week with a line dancing class. We had a free movie for the community. This week, we have an art talk that's going to take place at the facility. And then we are, highlighting vendors that will come on, for the marketplace on the weekends. Next week, we have a free film taking place. And then, we have the Sounds of Little Haiti. On the 22nd, we're doing Painted with Soul. That'll be in the courtyard. The art, we have visual and digital art that should be up by the end of the week. We already have some digital art displays that is being displayed in the theater foyer, and we'll have some art up in the gallery by the end of the week. We invite you to join us. All of the events are free. You can follow us on our social media handle on Instagram, LHCC Miami. So please spread the word, look and see what we have to offer. So far, the events have been successful. And I think, yes. The strategic plan is being finalized. The consultant is wrapping that up. So once we get those result backs, we are looking to have a community meeting to share those results and then discuss what our implementation stages and our plans are going to look like. Trying to see if that was everything. I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to bring up Dasha to introduce herself. We are planning to start having meetings with local, the resident companies that use the facility and some of the organizations that we partner with. We also are going to meet, we're going to be implementing some additional programming. So we're meeting with those organizations as well. So we just ask that you give her a little bit of grace until she gets, situated. And then we'll be taking additional meetings with the community members. So I'm just going to allow her to briefly introduce herself.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dasha St. Remy. I go by DeSaint. Dasha is fine, DeSaint. I am an artist. I'm an artist who love artists. My background is in social service. So I've worked with kids and adults in the past. I'm also a minister, ordained. So my background is a plethora, and so I believe I am strategically placed here for such a time as this. And I hope to work with each and every one of y'all in some capacity and continue to revitalize Little Haiti. Thank you.
In regards to our updates, did anyone have any questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll go ahead and go welcome, Dasha. Welcome. We'll go ahead and go into legislative items.
The first item we have as a resolution is an amendment to a previously approved home rehab exception amendment. So the original amount that came before the board at the end of last year was for $62,600. The Department of Community Development is requesting an additional $1,005 for a total amount of $63,605. So this resolution is to approve the additional $1,000 and bringing the total amount that was previously approved of the $62,600 to $63,605.
I would like to make a motion to approve it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I think he stepped away. We may have to wait.
You have quorum. You
We
could
have
still
quorum.
vote.
Okay. Motion passes.
If I could just take a second, I have a request. Since we've been doing this and we've been distributing things in the community, we kind of hear about it. We get a basic plan and we provide the funds. Is there any way that we could get updates on the properties? I mean, a couple of them I know what's going on because I drive by them on a regular basis, but there's some other ones that maybe haven't gotten started yet, maybe stuck in permitting, there might be an issue. Maybe if we could get like little updates about, maybe they've got permits, they're working, it's finished, some before and after pictures for the trust records. If we could do that, I think it would be awesome to be able to keep track of what we've been able to do throughout the community for the businesses and now the homeowners with this new grant.
Yes, we're going to circle back with the small businesses. They are required to do an update, provide us photos and, all the improvements that they did. We'll be doing that probably within the next 60 days or so. So we'll make sure that at that time to bring it back to the board with that information. For the home rehab, we only have one that's currently in that construction phase, which is the one that we're approving. The other one is still going through the approval process, but we'll make sure to follow up once it's complete as well.
So do we need to put some time parameters around that? Because as we're approving this, we should at least, is it on a quarterly basis? Because sometimes within 30 days, maybe things are not moving, things are stuck within, the processes and procedures at hand. So do we want to do something quarterly, or do you want to handle it through the CEO report, or actually have some updates on a quarterly basis? And I think that quarterly basis should be when we approved the funding.
So we can do the quarterly report and group a set of the businesses and whatever updates that we have, and at that time.
Yeah, so if anything was approved in quarter one, then quarter two we'll be talking about this group. So, okay. And we're going to start that when?
Going to ask for some grace. We currently don't have Ashley, so we're in the process of interviewing, and hopefully we'll be hiring somebody. So I would say if we could have at least another 60 days at a minimum to be able to do that.
Is to start the quarterly updates at the April meeting? Be fine? Okay. Go ahead. Any other legislative items?
That's the only item tonight.
So you can go into your CEO report.
Yes. I'll start off with some administrative updates. The trust is going to be partnering with Catholic Charities to provide financial literacy course. It will be held once a week for 2 hours over 5 weeks. The program is tentatively scheduled to begin in March. We'll hope to begin advertising at the end of this month. As Parks mentioned, we are participating in a small business workshop series with the City of Miami and also Chase Bank that will be launching on February 26th. We'll begin to market that through our distribution channels as well. As I just stated, we're currently conducting interviews for the Special Projects Coordinator position. An update as far as Florida Memorial University scholarships. I did have a meeting with Florida Memorial University, and they advised that they had successfully completed 8 cohorts, resulting in over 500 graduates certified in electrical, HVAC, and carpentry. Each of these graduates are also OSHA certified. They will be providing us with information as far as the zip codes and the location of where those graduates live. And we'll be discussing opportunities in the future to collaborate as far as trainings and employments in the near future.
Through the chair, really quickly, could you maybe highlight why that's significant to the trust?
Sure. So the scholarship fund was actually created through the developer agreement, in which Magic City, I believe, donated $250,000. And so I'm not sure if it's each year, but they are in their 8th cohort, and all of these are electrical, plumbing, for the construction jobs that are coming for Magic City. So the community has been asking what happened with that scholarship fund, because there was, I think, a change, and we weren't sure whether or not people were actually receiving the training. The good news is that now we know there is a pool of individuals with these certifications. We have to verify whether or not they're within our zip codes, but through the developer agreement, it also has additional zip codes such as Liberty City and Overtown if our specific ones within Little Hadley are found. So it does show that we have individuals that have received these trainings and certifications. When the jobs do come on board, when Magic City does begin its project, we'll be able to search for these individuals to refer for these jobs.
And just for understanding, people who reside within Little Haiti, they'll get preference first before Liberty City and other parts of the city?
Yeah, so inside of the developer agreement, it does list the zip codes, and it does start within Little Haiti. And then I think we're the first tier, and then it goes tier 2 and then tier 3.
Thank you.
Sean, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Okay.
We just had a question. How do you sign up? Well, this you're talking about the scholarship, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Magic City gave a scholarship to FMU, and as a result, they graduated and trained these individuals. As per my last conversation with them, they're not scheduled at this time to do an additional cohort. They're focusing on finding employment for the ones that they have already trained.
All right. So they'll underneath. So for clarity, it's not an automatic like rollover cohort. It's as needed or as the priorities are addressed.
I'm not sure if it's addressed exactly, also coinciding with dollars, like they just received their last payment to fulfill the total amount.
Gotcha.
So there's no additional sources of funding for them to continue to train. And then, did you want to answer?
And I think just to add to the constituents' question, how was that advertised? Was that advertised anywhere, provided anywhere? How would these 500 individuals know to sign up for this?
So I'm not sure. I know that the initial payment was received years ago. So I'm not sure if you have the exact date, but we've just been trying to figure out what happened to that money, where the scholarship is. And so we were finally able to connect with somebody at FMU.
So some of that information she has more than I do, and I've been trying to connect with them for the last 8 months, 4 months of like constant every other week follow-ups to try and get more information. To clarify one statement that you made, though, it is a total of $250,000 scholarship. We paid the initial $100,000 back in 2021, and actually effective this year, this March coming up, it'll be another $25,000 that we pay basically every year over the next 6 years to basically continue this program along. So it's honestly, I'm happy to hear that. It seems like some of the right things happened with those funds. We've been trying to track down and understand that ourselves. We gave it to FMU, and our agreement with them was that they were to establish this scholarship fund and program that is for local residents and provide them with these programs, which, again, we've been trying to figure out what that is, what that means, but there is an additional funds that will be coming every year starting in 2025 and going forward to hopefully open up some new programs. And a part of what I've been trying to do, one, to make sure we make that payment on time, is to coordinate and understand how folks are informed, how folks from the local community can get access to these programs. So sounds like I need to get with Joanne and figure out who her contact is, and then we'll continue to press this forward.
I was wondering if I could request some type of follow-up for that. Maybe a point person, and then like evidence that it was published because I mean I know it was in the community benefit agreement, but with all the moving pieces and all the obligations we've had, I know that's one priority that we didn't really highlight, at least here in Little Haiti. So I think it's important that the board show due diligence in trying to really connect the dots.
Yes, I did request a list of the graduates and also the information in regards to their home address so that we can try to filter through the zip codes. So I will have a follow-up meeting with them. I'm still waiting for them to provide that information with me. The person that I spoke to had just been there maybe like a year or two, so they weren't there when the scholarship was established. Okay, so I'm going to move forward. The next update I have is regarding the cultural overlay district. I did have a meeting with the planning department since there was a question as to whether or not the overlay district was still in existence after Miami 21. And so they did confirm that it is still in effect, but it does need to be updated to reflect the Miami 21 requirements. We did share with them the concept book, which we'll be discussing later on today, that was developed by FIU for them to provide some insight. And so we're still waiting for their initial review to provide it to us. But they will be providing us with guidance as we try to establish the design guidelines for Northeast 2nd Avenue and also Little Haiti. Next in my report is just regarding our community events. On February 1st, we had a volunteer canvassing event. We had over 20 volunteers that went door to door throughout Little Haiti to advise residents as far as resources offered by the trust. And we also gathered information through a needs assessment. This is part of our ongoing strategic marketing efforts for the trust. The next event that we hosted was on February 5th. We had an open house series. Every month we are going to be having an event that sheds light on different resources in the community. On February, we had focused on services for the youth. And so we had the Miami Police Athletic League, Notre Dame, the Pierre Toussaint Learning Center, and Gang Alternatives that came to talk about the programs and services they have available for kids and teens. Our next event is going to be held on March 5th, and we're going to be focused on employment services. Next, you have our programming update with our home rehabilitation applicants. We also have the list of single-family program referrals. As you know, applicants that are interested in our home rehab do have to apply to the city's program and be denied as well. So we are trying to monitor those that are referred to the city's program. And then we have your small business grant application program. At the next meeting, we'll have some additional checks to be able to provide to small business. We're currently working through a few of these applications at this time. And the last information on your on your CEO report is the financial report with our year-to-date expenses. Are there any questions on the CEO report?
If I may, could I direct my question to Mr. Wilt?
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I gave
asked
approval.
her. Yeah, thank you. Mr. Wilt, I have a question for you. In you now being very familiar with the community benefits agreement and working with it, and you're kind of the history keeper for all that's gone on. In your possession and in your offices and all of the paperwork that you have you seen an original copy of the guidelines here for Little Haiti that were done under 11,000?
Yes, it's actually, I believe, an exhibit in our overall SAP development agreement. Was very vague, but It is, yes, I've seen it, and I believe it's an
That's all
exhibit
you
to
have,
our-
though. What is the attachment, the exhibit in the community
is-
benefits agreement? There's
That is
nothing
all that I
else.
understand was ever put in place for the design criteria
Mm-hmm.
for Second Avenue.
Yeah, because I was wondering, because I mean, it took a long time to hammer out that agreement. I mean, it went on for the better part of 2 years, and I wanted to know if there was any more meat, because there doesn't seem to be much left, after 20 some odd years. So-
Yeah, and again, that was what was in the original prior code
'Cause
before it
of-
went to Miami 21.
Mhm.
That was the legacy document, so that exhibit is what was included within our
It's
development
referred
agreement.
to numerous times in the community benefits agreement, so I don't know how we can enact it. I mean, I was very curious to see if there was any more diagrams or examples or anything like that.
There's nothing else that we've seen.
Awesome, thank you.
Any other questions for the CEO report? Okay, so I think we have our presentation.
So the next item for discussion is the first draft of the strategic plan and also the design guidelines and concept book from FIU. So we also have it up on this. We have a copy for the board in a separate package, and then we also have a copy on the screen as well for view. This item is here just as discussion, but we wanted to share with you the draft. So the strategic playbook, and I'm just going to give a very brief overview. FIU would like to meet with each of the board members individually to be able to review and gather the feedback. But I wanted to just kind of highlight the way the book is broken down. So it starts off a lot with a lot of this information that we've already seen, talking about statistical data in reference to Little Haiti. And so it goes over demographics, it talks about the economy, it looks at job growth, what are the potentials that are available in Little Haiti. It identifies some of the challenges that residents are dealing with, and what are some of the ways or areas in which we could try to address them. So I wanted to just highlight that because we've seen a lot of this information when FIU has been here in the past and provided us with this statistical data. The second part of the playbook more goes into the strategies, and that's what we've been waiting for. So it calls this. So it established a mission and vision statement for us as an organization, and it looks to see how we should be able to utilize our dollars currently that we have and some of the strategies in order to do that. So one, they talk about leveraging funding, and they provide us with some options on how we should be able to do that, and mostly it's with partnering with other organizations, utilizing tax credits such as the enterprise zone, the federal opportunity zone, looking into Main Street America, which is a nonprofit organization that focuses on commercial revitalization. It goes into utilizing and capitalizing off of the culture in order to continue the promotion of Little Haiti as a destination. It talks about us establishing a marketing strategy and really looking into financially what would be best for the trust to do for not only the residents and small businesses, and leveraging the dollars that we have and looking to see how we can use those dollars in order to provide additional financial resources with partnering with community development organizations or community development financial institutions. So all of this information is provided in the book, as well as a timeline, I believe, over the next 5 years as to what our urgent needs are in year one, immediate programs that should be established in years 2 and 3, and then our long-term programs from 3 to 5. So I'm not sure if anybody wants to make any comments in regards to the strategic plan now, but FIU will be meeting with each board member individually to review this in depth. If there's no question, I'm going to move on to the design guidelines and.
I do have one question. Sure. Through the chair, I do have a question about the designating or going after the designation of a entertainment district. Is that what it says?
Inside the
For
book?
for the play. What would be? Can you speak to like the fundamental pros and cons of that?
So Little Haiti has a cultural district, and sometimes you also find a name in which it talks about it being an entertainment district. So that was what I had the meaning as far as planning is concerned. But there's additional, additional advantages if we were to look at, I forgot the exact term of the word, but I'd have to look into it, for us to become a district. One of the things is like for the overlay, a lot of the advantages that we are allowed to receive are not even being implemented. For example, you're allowed a certain number of liquor licenses. It also has a reference to the design guidelines, and you can enforce that on how the small business owners or actually property owners have their properties. As of now, even though it's in existence, but there's no intertwined with Miami 21, they're not able to enforce what the Second Avenue should look like as far as visually. But it's also part to what Alyssa said, that there's not really a definition of what that should look like. So with us going and establishing an entertainment district, and with this concept book that we're going to look at right now, we can state these are the colors, this is the type of materials, this is the look and feel of what it is that we'd like. And if there's additional items that we would like to also try to request, like for example, asking if we could avoid the noise ordinance in which everything would have to close down at 11 a.m. That would be something that we could advocate for if we believe that was an element that would be needed inside of an entertainment district for Little Haiti.
And I just through the chair again, one of my concerns is that I can't, in a superficial way, see how that helps the residents. You know, like a liquor license, those are very expensive and hard to acquire. So I don't know how the average Little Haiti resident would benefit from it. I know that's just a one-off kind of benefit that you say, but I'm thinking about, you know, the constant conversations are around, you know, rent going up, not having affordable housing, not having a lot of like educational programs. So I want to dig deeper, and hopefully in the presentation and upcoming presentations that whatever district we go for, you know, that there's some social benefits to it, to the average person, you know, that we can enjoy and continue to preserve the culture.
We're still a long way off. Our initial concept book talks about more about the look and feel of the design district. That's what we had our meeting with planning to see what our options would be if we wanted to go into looking into and designing more of a district. But we're not at that point as of now. But the concept book is the next item in which sorry, go ahead, Alyssa.
Before you finish on this part, I just wanted to make sure, since I've been kind of the driver of this and I've been pestering since nearly day one about preserving at least from 54th Street to 71st Street along Northeast 2nd Avenue. And yes, there's been some discussion about having some forms of entertainment, and that's been knocked around for quite some time. But the intent here isn't to have, nightclubs, bars, like you're saying, with 4 COP liquor licenses and all of that. If that is a accessory and the restaurant opens and it does well, more power to them. But my intent and what Joanne's been working on and what I've been, trying to get FIU to latch onto is a cultural preservation district. Something left here to identify with. This building is very noticeable. It's kind of the anchor, kind of using this and extending that and making sure we have the right architecture. We incentivize that when a developer comes in, they want our support. Okay, well, maybe we can trade for some colors or for some affordable housing or for, reduced rents for 5 years or 10 years for small businesses, things of that nature. So in creating this district, I want to have, a place, a central location, a main street in Little Haiti, and have guidelines. So when a developer comes in, we're not here discussing it every time. Here you go. You want our support? This is what we're asking. These are the benefits we'd like. These are the things we'd like to see. We want walkable sidewalks, street furniture, plants, all of those different types of things out here. We want to create a downtown that people can come to and identify, with Little Haiti. So that is what I want to be very clear that I'm not trying to create, where 1111 is, where space is, or, things of that nature. This was kind of based off of my experience with the MIMO district. Yes, it's a different base. That is for mid-century architecture. This would be for cultural preservation, not architecture, but same concept, same feel. Have a area marked off, and we would have something in downtown Little Haiti to be proud of. Now, if this festers and this spreads out through the rest of Little Haiti, and we can keep it going, and people would like support, and they want to do different things in their developments and have the street frontage painted certain colors, certain different aspects, no problem. If it ends up over on 79th Street or it ends up back on Northwest 5th Avenue, wonderful. But it's very difficult. This is a hard animal to manage. So I chose just this small, area out here to start with. If it snowballs, wonderful. But the idea and what I've been pushing for is just Northeast 2nd Avenue, here on 54th to 71st.
Thank you.
The next document that was provided by FIU is the design guideline and concept book, and this is the one that goes into the physical features that we're looking to exhibit in Little Haiti. It looks at both the commercial properties and the residential properties. It does look into the zoning and, like you talked about, Ashley, on the concept book, talking about the special overlay district and the needs for us. At the end, it says both are incomplete in terms of design guidelines that express the architecture or provide that specific style. So that's being worked on along the map that you see with the Northeast 2nd Avenue. It goes into stating what the existing zoning is as well, which provides the foundation on what we're able to request from the property owners. Then they did an assessment on the current properties that are there, including the marketplace, and providing renderings as far as the color palette that was chosen against the buildings with the existing colors. It looked at additional information such as vegetation. It looked at the materials, and the FIU staff would review this during your one-on-one meetings. So these are the information for the commercial properties. It talks about potential streetscape on Northeast 2nd Avenue, increasing the sidewalks, changing the flow of traffic. considering parklets as well. And there's also a section of this that's also done for residential properties as well. So the FIU team will go over this individually during your meetings. That's the next step in the plan. And then after that, we would have a meeting to provide both the strategic plan and the concept book to the public. Once we would get everyone's feedback, both from the board, the public, then we would come out with a second draft of both books. Any questions?
Timeline, because I know we've been waiting for this for a while. So meetings are set up for what time?
I have 3 board members already scheduled for meetings for next week. We'll probably go into the second week for board member meetings. And then we can schedule a meeting for the public as soon as the first week of March.
So 2 weeks of interviews, then we're doing a public meeting. So that puts us 3 weeks. And then that feedback is given to FIU. What is the turnaround time for them to update this?
They
Because
could
we
probably
can't-
have it
so-
updated probably within 2 to 3 weeks. I would say a minimum of like 2 weeks would be needed.
Because we definitely can't repeat
No,
this timeline. I think
Of
the
course.
board and the board members have been beyond patient with this item. So we're looking before our next meeting, March 11th, for them to update and come back to the meeting. Because I think they've worked on it extensively. Whatever updates or feedback we get from the public or they get from the board, I think can be updated immediately. It doesn't need 30 days, reasonable, 45, but it can be 8 months.
correct. I think we should aim for the public meeting to probably be the first week of March, prior to our board meeting.
So the public meeting is to get the feedback from the public, right?
Correct.
Why can't the meetings with the board and the public meeting happen simultaneously?
So I think, number one, I think we need time to be able to advertise and make sure that we get amount of people. Number two, one of the things I did ask them to do is set up online a place for people to be able to provide their comments, because not everyone is going to be able to come here in person and provide the comments. So I think it was important to provide people with the opportunity online. So I did request that from them. I haven't received that format yet. That's another reason why I'm waiting as well. So when we launch and start to advertise, asking people to physically come here, I do want them to have the opportunity to provide that feedback online as well.
So just as you stated, just to prepare the public to make sure we advertise that out, wouldn't we have to set that meeting today? Because if it's going to happen the first week of March, today is the 11th.
Yes, today's the 11th. I think having a good 2 weeks of advertisement is sufficient. I would have to schedule with FIU to know when they're available as well to be here to do that meeting. And I think we also need to discuss the strategy in which how the information is delivered to the public. Some of the information is very technical, as far as not only the research and data, some of the information in regards to the zoning. So I'd like to make sure that it's presented in a way that is easy for the layman to understand.
Chair, I have a question. Yeah, thank you. I'd like to follow up and echo kind of what the chair is concerned about. Additionally to this process finishing up and us getting a final draft, when we have met in the different charrettes and this last charrette that we'll do, we put in a lot of time and effort. People give their comments, they participate. I want to understand once we get all of that last things done, this is ready to go. How would this be implemented? What would be the next steps as far as implementation? We are really behind, the curve as is. The development train has arrived. It's pulled into the station. So I'm concerned and fearful too that we'll have a final draft and this will get shelved for 2 years. So I want to understand from FIU, from city staff, who needs to be necessary in this process to keep it going and it doesn't kind of fall off. And we've got a great, concept here. We've got our concept book, our guidelines, everything's done. Now what? So if we could kind of tie that up, because we're going to have a charrette and people are, well, when does this get implemented? What do we tell them?
So, one, FIU and the consultants were contracted just to create the plan for us. So any parts as far as implementation would be up to the board and the trust as far as staff in order to be able to implement. That would be
That's why I'm asking for,
yeah.
Can we include city staff now? We have them come to the charrette? When we get our final plan, can they attend our meetings, whether that's historic preservation, planning, zoning, land use? I'm not sure who the right folks would be, but I think if we don't start putting this into play, it will be 2 years before we can implement anything.
So the planning department would be involved just for the zoning issues and the cultural district overlay issues, but not as far as everything else, as far as the strategies of the.
So what board would they go before then? Would they go before the Planning and Zoning Board or the Historic Preservation Board, or who would have jurisdiction over the guidelines?
But that's something, from my understanding, with our concept book, that's not sufficient for us to go to the planning department and advocate for any type of designation as far as the district is concerned.
These have to go twice before commission. This is a huge, long, that's why I'm saying we need to bring in staff now. We need to have more of, when we finish up and we're getting to the last charrette, so that we're all on the same page. We have the city involved, FIU involved, the board involved, the community involved. To push this forward, this has many more steps to be a recognized district that's enforceable.
Of course. And so with our concept book, once we as a community, let's say the board, stakeholders, the city, has a unified vision, the next step should really be doing an RFP process for an architectural firm to really go ahead and lay the foundations of what we can then take to planning that can go to the city as a resolution. What we have as a concept book is a preliminary draft. It's called a concept book. It's not sufficient enough for us to be able to move forward at the level with the city. And that's why I had the meeting with planning to ask for their guidance as we continue to move forward. So this is a concept which we still need to ensure, is that really our vision for what we want? Just like with the strategies. They may say this is what they feel that we should be doing in year 1, year 2 and 3, in year 5. But as a board, you may think some of the strategies outlined in 3 or 4 should be implemented in year 1. That's the purpose of the meetings and also the community input as well. And we also have to look as to whether or not some of the strategies that they're putting in there is feasible for us to be able to do as well. So yes, FIU came with strategies that they're providing us, but as a community, we may not agree that's what we want to move forward. So we still have a little bit of work to do prior to coming to a final plan that the board can adopt as a resolution.
Well, I'm sorry, I misunderstood that and thought that FIU was providing these services, and that's why, we went with them and they were able to provide a total package. I was not under the impression that we are now going to hire a separate planning firm. I was not under that impression, and in
with Magic City, the the SAP, we are actually supposed to work with Magic City to come up with a beautification plan for Northeast Second Avenue, and so which goes into landscaping and all of those issues. The concept book is that I would say maybe it's like the original, it's the start of where we eventually would want to be, but there's still a lot of legwork. Some people really want to see the streets go down to one way each lane. Some people are very adamant against it. But these are the kind of things that, as a community, we need to determine and then have actual renderings and plans that we are submitting as to the work that we want to do. And we would also need to get the buy-in of not only the city, the county, FDOT. Like, it's not a simple.
Yeah, I'm not concerned with the street. I learned a long time ago not to fool with streets. That is a wasted errand. That is a lot of time and effort to move and change streets. I'm concerned with the zoning, the buildings, what is built, those types of things. And it would be, I mean, it's been my understanding that the city would provide those guidelines, that the city would write them. Or, I mean, you know, this is not something that I was aware of. I really was under the impression, and I apologize, maybe it's my misunderstanding, but when FIU came and did the initial presentations, I mean, we've spent 2 years on this. I mean, this is a big surprise to me, and I'm a little bit, honestly, I'm a little bit confused tonight. So, I mean, we can discuss it further offline, but I was really under the impression that this was going to have, you know, more meat, and that this was more of a final product to take to the city to have these discussions, not start an entire another 2-year-long process. I mean, this is not what I was expecting. So, thank you. I appreciate the explanation.
So just to kind of reiterate what Alyssa's saying, I know it's not enough to go to the city and say, hey, we need this based on what's provided. But I think just in the programming type timeline, I think we need to identify what we need. So I'm going to just use a little example. We need to just get a website, right? Just a website. So they were supposed to come up with a concept for that website, what it was supposed to look like. But we know FIU cannot execute the website. We would have to go to the city, work through the city's website department, IT department. So I think what Alyssa is asking for with these suggestions, who do we need to work with? And what does that timeline look? Because this is just a suggestion that we have to adopt. We don't have to adopt everything that's in here because we also have to be realistic so we're not going down a rabbit hole for another 2 years. Now, there are some projects that may take longer than others because you have short-term goals and you have long-term goals. So when we get to review this and have that discussion with FIU, I think as a board, we really have to make a conscious decision which ones are going to be priority, which one may be a programming for 5 years, 7 years, whatever it is. But this is not a one and done. I think what I understood with this concept book was to lay the foundation, because we no longer can say we're an infancy board, but there were a lot of things that needed to get started, and we didn't know which one we needed to prioritize. And so I think FIU just kind of laid the foundation for us, but some of these things are going to take much longer than others. So I think we just need to come up, because if we're talking about 1 year, it took them a year to get us the program. So we're already late. Like, we're already late. So this should be maybe 2 years or 6 months, whatever it is. But I think, there's some things that we really can get up and running, but we have to be strategic and saying which ones are going to be priority right now. And some of those priorities that need to be right now take long. You understand? But what can we meet? Short-term goals, long-term goals. So when we have these meetings with FIU, I plead to the board, make sure you're giving all your opinions and your feedback, because if this does not represent what we want, we need to let them know that. So, but I think just for us, I think just having what would this look like. So if we wanted to establish the Little Haiti Community Development Hub, right? What does that involve? Who else do we need to bring to the table? What does that timeline look like? I think that's where the confusion is, because concept book, we're running, and it's not like that. This was just to kind of gather us and put us together because everything was moving in different places. So I think this was just more strategic for us to organize us as opposed to starting to do different things. So, but I think Alyssa's right. We should at least, in order for us to make a decision, what's going to be priority and what's not going to be priority, we really need to know which other departments or what the process intersects with these strategies.
So inside of the book, I think it depends on what the strategy is. Sometimes it's telling you to partner with other organizations. Based on our organization and our capacity, it may say partner with a CDC if you want to build affordable housing, because we don't know how to build affordable housing. We're not going to go out and do it. So that is their strategy when they, in the book, for example, is to partner with a CDC. There's other things that we do have the capacity to do as an organization, right? As staff, we would be able to accomplish. There may be things that the board may decide, is it worth it for us to do that investment as far as time? I think there's a chart also in which they put in a timeline. They have costs that are associated with some of the strategies. So partner with a CDC, it may cost X amount of dollars. It may take you 2 years in order before you're able to achieve this strategy or this goal. There is a chart at the end of the strategic plan that also outlines that as well. So some of these questions that you're asking are already inside of the strategic plan according to the strategies that are identified.
So I see the cost benefit.
And you have this in your email because I know the print is small as well. So yes, it is that cost benefit summary. In that analysis, it also says we would invest X amount of dollars, and then you could use those dollars in leverage and what the impact would be based on us leveraging those dollars.
What's my meeting schedule? Oh, it's next week. Okay. 'Cause I thought it was tomorrow's meeting because gotta digest. So,
Were there any other questions, either for the strategic playbook or the concept book? Public comment is closed, so we don't take questions from the public unless the board votes to reopen public comment.
Yeah, I motion to open public comment. In 1 second. Any opposed?
so since we're reopening, well, have we voted in?
I don't think we voted. Anyone opposed? All right, so move.
It'll be limited to 1 minute per person. So public comment is now reopened.
To the microphone. Please come to the microphone. Anyone who'd like to make public comment?
Thank you. Yes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Cliff Toujours. I'm a community resident and I'd say stakeholder. And I'd like to first and foremost salute the board members for their effort and dedication to this revitalization project. Also extend our regards to the executive team, if I may refer to it like that. And my question is about the communication channel between the community residents and the trust communication team. Because earlier I remember that it was stated that there has been recent efforts to door-to-door efforts to communicate to the community the initiative or the steps that are being taken to as part of the effort of the trust. And I don't know if that covers a specific area and it will progress to other areas, but I have, been in touch with a couple of other community residents, and they have not, just like I have not, they have not either really been informed about, much of what the revitalization effort is about. So there's that aspect, and also I also would like to address the stated efforts being put to turn the area into a district, and I believe that aligns with the and also the specifically the entertainment zone, if that's the reference, and I believe that this, along with the cultural preservation zone that was discussed, I find this to be very positive initiative to be taken. And if there are, communication channels that could inform community residents about, the steps being taken to develop those, that would really be appreciated. And also, as far as, is there a way that a liaison could be made to help small business owners on, information that, are relevant to the assistance that the trust is providing to the community small business owners? And also, if the current initiatives are prioritizing the area that starts from 4th Ave to Northeast 2nd Ave at this time, does it extend to the to the other parts of Little Haiti? And or is it a step-by-step process? And how does the trust plan to start engaging the rest of the area into this
So the good news
project?
is, if I may,
So
Chair,
that's it for tonight for me.
Every
Thank
single
you for
one-
the opportunity to
every
address
single
the
one of your
board
questions has
and
an answer,
the executive.
and there's many different ways to communicate. If you'll stick around and speak to one of these two individuals behind you, whether it's social media, email, YouTube, there's many ways to get the information. And yes, there's for the different businesses, for homeowners, and it's all of the boundaries of the Little Haiti Trust. It's not just Northeast 2nd Avenue. So whether it's Northwest 5th, Northwest 2nd, it's the entire area. So every single one of your questions does have an answer.
Thank you.
So one of the things, if I just can go ahead and elaborate on that, the trust has a newsletter that comes out. By you attending the meetings, you can go ahead and just sign up on our roster, and you will be provided our monthly newsletter where it gives all the information of events that the trust is working on. The executive team has also, as you referred to them, have also implemented monthly series. So anything that the trust is working on, they will have different other community agencies come out to provide that information. But this question comes up very often. And so you can see tonight we have our monthly meeting, probably maybe 25, 30 people in the audience. So we rely on the residents, the constituents that attend the meetings to help us voice what's happening with the trust. So definitely word of mouth goes very far, but I can tell you just by signing up, we are improving our efforts to make sure that communication is clear, but we know our efforts still have more to come, but we would appreciate any assistance that the constituents, the residents that attend the meetings that can assist us with that. But definitely a year and a half ago, we didn't have a newsletter. We're still working on that website because it's in the concept book, but we record our meetings. You can go back and listen to a meeting if you're not able to attend, but word of mouth is really how that information gets to everyone. So we appreciate that assistance.
Thank you very much for the answers. That'll be it for me for tonight. Thank you again.
Okay. I don't think there's anything else on the agenda. Oh, were you? Sorry, go ahead. 1 minute, yes, ma'am.
What's up?
Through the chair, we got to enforce that.
All
We
right,
got to
cool.
enforce that. No long introductions.
All right. I'm an artist. My name is Samdi. I have a studio on 5961 Second Ave, Northwest. To me, I want to talk about the project, for example, the beautification.
We're going to give you back those 10 seconds. Don't worry.
All right, cool. Yeah, the beautification project that you guys have up there. I've worked on many projects like this back home in Haiti. I just moved back here 4 or 5 years ago about. So we've worked on stuff like this, for example, in the village of Nouai in Kwadebuke where they do metal work. And I think it's a great opportunity that they're giving us that chance to actually put our cultural imprint on whatever's going to get built, because it's going to get built. And me, I don't have the kind of personality of like, yeah, they're going to do it, let's just swallow whatever they would give us. If we have an opportunity to actually put our culture into that, a culture that's so rich in art, there's so many artists that live in the area, we're down to put our hands in there and see. I would love to see that project, and actually, if we could have a meeting and actually, I have ideas for months for this. Like, this is something I've been wishing to get to do in Haiti. Mais pas gen l'État Haïti, so our ideas get thrown out. Here gen l'État. You guys want to do something? I'm down. I want to help do this specific project, very much so. Whether it's
We
like,
appreciate your time,
you know how
sir.
some people don't like
Thank
the garbage
you.
cans with the Haitian flags on it? We can do nice metal work with these garbage cans and do really good art and make the community, like everybody when it comes to Little Haiti, see this is nice.
Thank you.
Not just some generic stuff. Like,
Thank you, Sandy.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sandy Dorsonville, 55 Northwest 69th Street. My question is, I haven't heard you guys talk about the numbers. Where are we going to get the money to make all these things happen? And what's the timeline for those numbers? And who's going to get paid to do this? Like, I just haven't heard any numbers. And this is like several meetings. Just
Yeah, we're just not there in the process. We're still conceptually, it's all concept.
But in this suggestion of a concept book, it does outline what it would cost. But like, as she said, we're just not there because we haven't even decided which strategies we will take priority or which ones won't, and that will also have to be taken into consideration. Where the funding is going to come from, what's going to happen. It's a whole master plan.
I think I have 30 seconds. So does that mean we just talked about 8 months going by to do this? We're looking at maybe another 8 months. So we're not going to start talking about funding streams and how we're going to fund this until after that?
No, I
Okay.
think what we stated is that by deciding which strategies we will employ, we will have to also know where the funding stream will come from that.
And is a conversation being had with the city of Miami to see if they are going to fund these projects or if it's even a possibility?
So yes, because once we make the decision which ones we are going to do, then that's when we would present our final plan to the city of Miami and those other partners to be able to see where those funding is coming from.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mario, and this is my first time attending the board meeting. And my question for you guys is, what are the initiatives that you guys have in place to help preserve the Haitian culture and keep celebrating, Haitian Heritage Month in the community? I mean, March is right around the corner,
Joanne, we can go ahead and give them a preview of what we've done in the past. Haitian Heritage Month, it was specific.
Just Haitian heritage in general. Don't gotta just be a man.
So last year, we administered a program for District 5 Chairwoman King's office, and we gave over $100,000 to, I believe it was, I don't want to say an exact number, but I want to say I think it was 18 different organizations that did events throughout the month. And so on average, they received about $7,500 per organization to fund them. In addition, last year, we put up honoring Haitian heritage banners with the Negmawa all throughout Little Haiti. Some of them are still up there today. We had done a mural on the first roll down shutter here at the Caribbean Marketplace. I think that's what we did last year for Haitian Heritage Month.
And also, you guys also gonna cover like the marching band that be performing on the weekends? That's part of the Haitian culture, and I was one of the members that started this like 25 years ago, I believe so, 2003. So what are the initiatives towards the marching band, the Gagana Haiti? How we keeping the culture like
so
with this new projects going on?
Sure. So one thing which goes back to the first time people wanted the trust to fund Haitian Heritage Month, one thing that people have to remember is that the dollars that we received from the cities have to be focused on certain areas: affordable housing, economic development, small business development, beautification, parks, and community education. Culture is not one of them. The word Haitian isn't one of them. So everything that we do has to be tied to what I call them are the 6 pillars of what we do. So we don't fund cultural events just to fund cultural events. That's why we have Chairwoman King's office who is willing to help us fund those type of events. But we are restricted as far as what we can use those dollars for. So at this time, we don't fund any of those type of initiatives.
Okay, one last question. Also, do you guys also...
I'm sorry, time for the next person. Thank you.
Next time.
Yep.
Fritz Fenelon. After you going through the game plan and master plan, it seemed like you guys are going to need agency to kind of help with that. Innovative Little Haiti is volunteering my services to kind of help facilitate some of these programs. So we don't have to go another 2 years or all that with some of these initiatives that's in there. So Innovative Little Haiti is volunteering their services once again. So, I send you some emails and stuff like that, and we can see how we can work together.
And I just want to clarify, it's the strategic playbook is strategies on how to move all of our initiatives forward. It's not just about the design. The design information is in the concept book. But under the strategic plan, it talks about how we can make economic impact. And a lot of the things that they're recommending is leveraging things that already exist, forming partnerships with organizations that already have that, or financial institutions, or how we can utilize the dollars that we already have. So a lot of it is a game plan. It's not a bunch of projects that need for us to be investing dollars. And it talks about how if we invest a certain amount of dollar and we leverage it properly, this is the impact economically it has within us. So this isn't a bunch of products for us to go and purchase or processes for us to accomplish.
No other public comments?
You gotta turn your mic up.
I'm a resident in this part of the city for a long time, and I have a question. Who decides what's important now and what's later? Like, what projects are important now as opposed to later? Who's the decision maker with that? Who's the smart guy? That's what I want to know. Or woman.
Yeah, that's a good.
Whatever.
Thank you.
Person.
That's just not. I'm sorry, Vice Chair. That's not how the process works. It's not one person. It's a community. It's a collective. Everybody's voice matters. You seem new here. We've been meeting for about 5 years now, so that's understandable.
I think in certain areas, especially this neighborhood, we need activity with engagement with the children, art,
Yep.
a place where they can get free markers and go home.
Yep.
You know, something that's direct now.
We agree.
To like the 10-year plan.
We
We
agree, and like I said, it's a collective. We are volunteer folks, so anybody knows me know I promote, my community. I'm sure you promote your community, so it takes all of us. So I agree with you saying. So I would encourage to continue coming. There's a lot of information that if you come every week, it's like it's like a Netflix series that's 5-6 seasons. If you come in season 5, I'm being honest. I'm trying to contextualize it for you because the question that you ask shows me that there's some concept that you understand. Like, it's not a one-person show. It is a group. It's a collective effort.
I'll ask that to get that answer. I'm happy. That's
Okay.
Sometimes we got to ask questions to see how it's answered, right?
Yep.
So I love that answer. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
My questions are kind of crazy, but it's to see, because if not, in these times we need a shockwave. We need a splash of water on somebody, because everybody's lukewarm. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to keep coming here. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. So public comment is now closed. Anything else left on the agenda? Okay. Meeting adjourned.
You'll never beat my time. You'll never beat my time.
What's going on? You heard the news. A lot.
Well, no, I'm so glad that you're here.
Careful.
We can
Careful.
use some.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. What was your name again? JP. Really? Where? I went to Southbridge. Yeah. Okay. No. Went to Southbridge. You as well. Please continue to come to our meetings. Yeah, because, it definitely.
I'm not. Come.
I'm going to tell you, so since you say you're an artist, so last year, nice to meet you.